Okay, the big one, new rune words or updates to runes. So there's not a lot that was kind of like given away, just a couple hints. So I guess I'll start off with the two new rune words that they mentioned, Plague and Pattern. They're both really interesting rune words. I'll throw them up later when I post edit. First, to start with Pattern, it's an interesting rune word that you can roll in claw weapons. Now, they did mention earlier about buffing martial arts skills in that, so maybe you could tie in early gameplay like normal in Into Nightmare using the new martial arts skill with the rune word Pattern. So that's cool. It's funny that these have existed in the game coding for so long, but they're just finally like introducing them now. Again, they're not the only rune words. There's going to be other ones. Plague is the big one, which is an interesting rune word to me. Somebody in chat said that Plague was OP. Now, they did mention that they're going to kind of like tweak it. In its current state, from what you can see, I'll throw up on the screen later when I edit the video. I don't particularly find it a super overpowered rune word. It has chance to proc low resistance when you're struck. It is 20%, so that will go off pretty frequently, but I can't think of a lot of characters where you're dealing elemental damage and you want to be in their face getting hit to proc low resistance. It does have Deadly Strike. It has chance to cast Poison over on striking, but that's not really that crazy. Yeah, sorry. Did I say it's a chest rune word? It's a weapon rune word. But has 1 to 2 skills, Cleansing Aura, Deadly Strike, decent ED roll on it. It's not an indestructible rune word, so you can't roll it an ethereal item. That would be an interesting change. If they made that, it may make it a little bit stronger. It doesn't have increased attack speed in its current state, so I don't think it's really good for a Rabies Druid. I mean, it'd be okay, but that's the most viable case I can think of using it, is a Rabies Druid. Again, you'd have to proc Rabies and then sit and wait to be hit to proc low resistance to make it a little bit stronger. Where I feel like you're better off just using Grief, because Grief already has negative poison resistance on it, but then it also has a shitload of enhanced damage. So I just feel like Grief is better. Using it on a Mercenary, again, in its current form, I believe it's swords only, so you could maybe roll it on an Act 5 Mercenary, and again, an ethereal weapon base, like an F Colossus Blade or something. It would do some decent damage. And with a Barbarian having more aggressive AI than the other mercs, it would be in monsters' faces, so you probably would have that low resistance proc more frequently. I just feel like it's a weaker variant of an Infinity Mercenary. Anyways, I think it's really cool. These aren't the only rune words that they're going to be introducing to the game, so that is very neat. They did mention an emphasis on sort of addressing, like, they have strong early game rune words, and they have really strong end game rune words. They want to sort of address that sort of middle gap, because there are a few pretty decent middle gap rune words, like Treachery is a really good one, Duress is a really good one, Honor is really good. Obviously, I think Spirit, you can kind of like class that as like a middle kind of grade rune word. Same with Lore. Splendor, I guess nobody really uses Splendor, but there are a handful of them. But I really do like the idea of sort of addressing that gap with some more options. Although I would like to see some... Oh, Lionheart, that's another good one. I would like to see some more endgame stuff as well. They did mention utilizing some more underused runes like Cham and Zod, so that's pretty interesting. Cool thing about Zod is the indestructible mod, so... I see a couple people mentioning nerfing Grief. I'm not a fan of nerfing Grief. I know that some other content creators have suggested it. My problem with that is that in Melee's current state, I feel like they're already at a disadvantage, and they have talked about like a couple builds like buffing AR and whatnot, but they're not, for example, the Whirlwind Barbarian, they're not going to buff Whirlwind, they're just going to buff Leap Attack. So you want to nerf Grief and nerf a melee character that's already nerfed compared to a caster character? I think, in my humble opinion, that's a bad idea. And I know they mentioned they're not going to nerf anything. They already did mention that. I'm just saying, bringing it up as a discussion point. You guys suggested it. Don't think it's a good idea. Maybe a second rune word that's a better version of Breath of the Dying to add some value to a Zod rune. That might be a better choice. But melee characters already struggle with attack rating, and I would not want to nerf the strongest rune word that gives ignore target defense which works on regular monsters, and then it has negative 25% target defense. That does work on bosses and super uniques at a reduced rate. So I just leave grief the way it is, but overall, I think in general that these are some really great changes. I do hope that, I think some of the biggest lacking areas, I think it would be cool to see some extra rune words that provide aura support, particularly in a sword for an Act 5 mercenary. That's one area that I would like to see. I feel like a lot of the strongest rune words have support auras for polearms. So that'd be the first thing I'd like to see adjusted. The second thing would be a different bow besides Faith and Ice. You have Brand, you have Wrath, but they're not really typically used. So I think it would be cool to see something there. Maybe something that's focused on fire, even though I know you have Hand of Justice, but I think that'd be cool. Because you already have a really good ice boa, and you already have a good physical boa. And then I would like to see potentially a couple more chestplate armors, or a staff rune word would be really cool. I think it'd be really cool to see a staff rune word that had a very high cost investment, but was a better version of Hodo and Spirit. Because I just think in the current form, it's Hodo or Spirit. You have Man Songs, but Man Songs just is not better than those two. So I think it'd be really cool, again, to fill the gap and have a really cool staff rune word. But yeah, overall, really excited about these changes, and yeah, can't wait to talk about the other rune words with you guys.